Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another video of ours. Today I'm looking at each club in the Premier Division, their transfers, basically their signings in, signings out. I'm going to give them a rating out of 10 if I can. It's not going to be easy with some of them. Some clubs have brought in players that we don't know an awful lot about, so that's always a difficult thing. But we'll start off anyway with Bohemians. We'll start and have a bit of order, why not? And they brought in Paddy Kirk back to the club, Keith Buckley back to the club, Adam McDonald has come in from Sligo, James Akintunde from Derry, Dean Williams from Drogheda, Grant Horton from Cheltenham on loan, Luke Dennison Longford goalkeeper, Dylan Connolly from Morecambe, and Jay Ben from Lincoln on loan, who's a right back. First of all, I'll have a look at the players in, obviously, and yeah, they've brought in some good players. I think Kirk, I think, is a good signing. Akintunde is a really good signing. I believe Dean Williams could be a good sign as well. A very good goal poacher, to be honest with you. They have a lot of forwards actually at the club now. And the likes of McDonald has come in, and the missing someone, Keith Buckley has come in as well. So back to the club as well. So he probably should give them a bit of leadership in the team. I would say decent in terms of ins. In terms of outs, Jamie Mullins is gone, Conor Evans is gone, Tariq Wilson's gone, Liam Burt is gone, Aaron Doran Jr., Jordan Doherty, Max Murphy, Kieran Kelly, John McCracken, Tyke Ryan, James Finnerty, Ethan Varian. Some of these are on loan, by the way. Gavin O'Brien, Rory Feely. So they've lost a lot of players as well, and it's an interesting one because have they improved overall? I think they probably have improved a little bit, to be honest with you, on the playing side. I think they have. As I said, Kirk, Buckley, Akintunde, Williams for me are definite upgrades, to be honest. So I do think they have improved, Bowles. It's just a case of, can they gel together, and have they done enough, really? It's a far cry still from the team that was there a few years ago, in my opinion. Only a couple of seasons ago, in my opinion. And, I think overall the quality mightn't really be there. And I'm kind of looking at those players and all the good signings. Do any of them get in the top 3 or 4 in the league? Probably not, to be honest with you. So that's a thing as well. But yeah, in terms of a rating, I'd give them a 5 out of 10, I think, overall, when you consider the outs as well. Some of the players have lost. They could have done with Mullins for another year. Obviously could have done with keeping Burt. I think Wilson's a good player who suffered in the way Bows were last year, to be honest with you. Jordan Doherty was player of the year. So yeah, I'd give them overall, I think, a 5 out of 10. Josh Kerr's actually left the club as well, by the way. I'd give them a 5 out of 10 overall. They'd still have a few players to come in, I think, but at this point I'm always thinking to myself, very hard to get players of quality in. On to Derry City. I don't think Derry City had needed to do much, to be honest with you. Whereas Bowes, I think, needed to do more there. But I think with Derry City, actually Cork City, sorry, I'm skipping Cork City. We'll stay in alphabetical order. Cork City. Yeah, I mean, Cork City, I brought in some interesting players. Anyone they've lost hasn't been a loss, in my opinion, David Harrington aside. But they do have Jimmy Corcoran, who's a good goalkeeper. The ins, anyway, Tunde Olabi's come in from St. Patrick's Leg, Ethan Varian alone from Bowes. So they've improved their strike force along with Rory Keaton there. Matt Healy has rejoined the club on loan from Ipswich. Toby Olawayemi is on loan from Celtic. Albin Wimbo, Kevin Kustovic on loan, and Daniel Kresic. So 3 or 4 players who wouldn't know an awful lot about have come into Cork City there. So will they improve Cork City? I don't know. Their existing squad, would that be good enough? It's hard to tell. It's a strong Premier Division, but I do think definitely Tunde gives them something different up front. But I don't know. I'm looking at them and going, how many of those players definitely get in the Cork City team? And it's hard to tell because Keating done so well last year. Will he be first choice over Tunde for now? They've definitely improved their squad. Their squad has improved. It's just a case of, will their starting 11 be good enough? Some players have lost, as I said there. No real losses. I'm not going to name them all, actually. McGlade, Duna, Britton, Ronan Hurley. Obviously, Marco Mahoney going to Brighton is a loss, but he's only 17. He probably wouldn't have played much anyway. So not too many. They haven't lost too many, to be fair, of, let's say, quality. But it's very difficult, actually, to judge Cork City. Based on their outs, I think they're kind of okay, if you know what I mean. So that bumped them up a bit. I think I'm just looking at their ins and I'm saying how many of them will definitely get in. Obviously, Matt Healy probably, but Matt Healy was there last season. The others were not sure. So for that reason, I'm not sure they've done enough either. So I'll probably give them a 5 out of 10 as well. Derry City, now, as I mentioned slightly before that, Derry City didn't need to do much, in my opinion, with the squad that they have. I think their big signing is Adam O'Reilly, though. He was at Pats obviously last season, and he's a massive sign. It really adds to their midfield. Gives them a lot of quality there. Colin Whelan's coming in, although he'll be injured at the start of the season, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets going really when he gets back. Ty Ryan, sub goalkeeper. Ben Doherty's coming in from Larne, and Matthew Ward on loan from Ipswich. Ollie McNeil's probably going to come in as well, to be honest. So they're not quite done yet. But I think for what they have and what they need at Derry, they've kept the majority of the squad. The players have left, the likes of Daniel Lafferty, James Akintunny, Matty Smith, Creevin Porter, and McCallion on loan to Harps. For example, Joe Thompson's gone, Declan Glass has gone back. So I don't think they've lost anyone that you would say they're definitely in Derry starting 11. But they've added one or two. Like O'Reilly definitely is the one. And the fact that Duffy's going to be fit at the start of the season, Connolly's going to be there from the start of the season. They didn't need to do an awful lot. So for that reason, I think they have added, because it was always going to be hard to add to quality of what they have. So I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 for that reason, Derry City. On to Drogheda United. Drogheda United's an interesting one. I like a lot of the players have brought in. Sean Brennan's come in from UCD. Ben Curtis from St. Patrick's Athletic. Conor Keeley from Ballymena United, Emmanuel I'm going to butcher this, lads, Boyega from Dundalk, back to Drogheda from Dundalk, Eliche Ahu and Freddie Draper on loan from Lincoln. So I think they've added more players as well. I'm not going to name them all, but my point is I think those players pretty much getting their starting 11. So you're bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 potential players that gets into their starting 11. Now they've lost players that were in their starting 11, let's say like Andrew Quinn, Dean Williams, Keekan Den Massey, although I think they were showing signs of age, unfortunately, the latter end of last season. So they've lost players like that. Darren Nugent's gone back to Rovers on loan, or after his loan. So I think they've added, I actually think they're stronger. I think Drogheda are stronger than they were last year, to be honest. I think they've added legs. I think they've added youthfulness, 1 or 2 players out to prove a point as well, like Ben Curtis, for example. Conor Keeley has really improved since he went to the Irish League, so he's a good addition. And I do like the 2 Lincoln boys, especially Yahoo. Was very impressed with him against Dundalk at right back. So I think, considering the budget they have as well, Drogheda, to factor in the budget, I think they've done quite well, actually. And I would give them an 8 out of 10 also. Dundalk. Now, I wouldn't be too impressed with Dundalk's recruitment. Louis Ainsley's come in, Hayden Muller, Connor Malley, probably the best one, Cameron Elliott and Archie Davis. The only one there that really I like from what I've seen as well is Connor Malley, I think, to their midfield. They've lost Lewis McCarry, who's gone back end alone, who was very good last season. Stephen Bradley has his moments. Those type of players I think are big losses to them. I don't think Gartland obviously retired, McMillan gone, Bone. I don't think they're big losses to them at all. Runer Haj, for example, really. But Shepherd, you could argue, is a new sign as such. I think he signed a 1-year deal, but he had an option for 2 years. So he's in as well. But are they stronger than they were last season? Probably not. I think they might be a little bit weaker, actually, to be honest. They've got Ryan O'Kane obviously there as well. I'm not going to talk too much about the existing players, to be honest with you, but I don't think they have really strengthened. So if I was a Dundalk fan, I'd be disappointed with the recruitment. I'm going to give them a 4 out of 10. On to D to S. That's a jump, isn't it? D-test. On to Shamrock Rovers, a bit like Derry City again. They didn't have an awful lot to do, but a bit of a refresh was required for Shamrock Rovers. I think they've done well. Liam Burt in from Bowes gives you a bit of zip. Johnny Kenny, a bit of youthful exuberance, good player. Trevor Clark in, good signing considering. I'll tell you in a minute. And Marcus Poom in from Flora Talon. The players out, the big one is obviously Andy Lyons. So to get Trevor Clark in when you lose Andy Lyons is huge, but I don't think he's at the level of Andy Lyons. McCann has gone. And Maku's gone, wasn't really getting in the team anyway. So, yeah, I mean, Barry Cotter wasn't getting in the team either. So, yeah, I think they've strengthened. I do. I think Shamrock Rovers have strengthened. I think Burt and Kenny, Poom are very good signings, actually. Clark is a decent replacement to come in for Lyons. So, overall, I do think they've strengthened, which is quite impressive considering. And I think they needed a bit of a refresh with kind of a couple of younger players with a bit of like Kenny's very good at pressing, Burt very good. These are players that can play in the counter attack as well. Something that they struggled in Europe, in my opinion, last couple of seasons. Away from home in particular, is that they lacked a bit of pace in the counter attack. Burt, Kenny, etc. give you that. So I'm gonna rate them quite high, like Derry City. I'm gonna give them an 8 out of 10. Shelbourne. Now, I think the impressive thing with Shelbourne was the fact that most of their signings were in before December, pretty much, as far as I remember, or certainly by early December, apart from one, Cian Levy, on loan from Reading, who only came in the other day. But they brought in Conor Kearns, Tyreek Wilson, Kyle Robinson, Andrew Quinn, Evan Caffrey, Matty Smith was a big one to actually sign him, and Paddy Barrett, if he can stay fit, he should give them something at the back, a bit of leadership. Brendan Clark is gone, he's gone to Galway. The likes of Dan Carr, Dan Hawkins, Arnold Driscoll, don't see them as losses at all. Stephen Negru is a loss, though, to be fair. But I think James Quinn. Yeah, Quinn coming in has Andrew Quinn, sorry, James Quinn, has is a good replacement, actually. He was very good for Drogheda at the back end of last season as well. So have they strengthened? I do think they have. I think if you look at the batch of players that have come in, Quinn, Barrett, Robinson, Wilson are stronger than some of the players that went out. I think Caffrey's a good sign as well, and obviously Smith officially signed now. I think they have strengthened Shelbourne. They've done it quite early. Conor Kearns, maybe not in the goalkeeping department, but elsewhere, I'd be happy enough if I was Shelbourne there as well. If you look at the players in and the players out, yeah, I think I'd give Shelbourne a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. Sligo Rovers. Now, Sligo was an interesting one because obviously we'll talk about the players out in a minute, but some of the players are brought in, you're kind of going, we don't know. Johan Branafok has come in, having a clue. Lucas Browning has come in. Bogdan Vastuk has come in. And Reece Hutchinson's come in. So there's 4 players you're not really sure of. Pinacker was officially signed. He was good from last season. Mahon comes back from St. Johnstone. Be interesting to see if Mahon be the same player, because I thought the Mahon that played for Sligo before should have been getting in at St. Johnstone. So has he regressed, one wonders? Who knows? You'll have to see about that one. Lafferty will give them experience, but he's not an upgrade on what they had before. Gary Boylan also coming in. Yeah, I mean, Paddy Kirk is a loss, gone back to Bowes. McDonald's a bit of a loss. Shane Blaney is a loss. Who else have they lost? I think is a loss. Lewis Banks, I think, in my opinion. And obviously Aidan Keane is a huge loss. So overall, you'd have to say they look like they're a little bit weaker. James Finnerty's come in, I mightn't have mentioned him as well. But he was struggling to get in at Bowes, and the Bowes backline wouldn't have been the best, that kind of way. So I don't know. I just think, I don't know. It's hard to see Sligo fans being very happy with if they look at the ins and outs, really. And I think it's disappointing for them. They've lost 2 or 3 of their better players. Mahon is a good signing, so that probably bumps them up a little bit. But can he be the player he was before? We'll see. They'll hope so. I can't give them below 5 though, because of the Mahon one coming in, but it's certainly closer to a 4 than a 6. So I'm going to give Sligo Rovers a 5 out of 10. Now, St. Patrick's Athletic. St. Patrick's Athletic, I think, have brought in some good players. Tommy Lonergan, Vladislav Krejt has come in. Jake Mulroney looks like a really good sign. Noah Lewis looks like a really good sign. And Conor Carty from Bolton. At the moment, they could do with 1 or 2 additions in the back line for sure. They only have 2 full backs at the club. So, proper full backs. So, I imagine there will be 1 or 2 coming in. But I think they'll be a little bit disappointed with the players out. Some of the players out. They would have wanted to keep Ben Curtis, to be honest, but he wanted to make sure he got first team football, so moved to Drogheda. But particularly Adam O'Reilly and Barry Cotter. I know Cotter was on loan, but they were 2 players that were huge for Pats last season, and it's disappointing for Pats that they didn't go and keep Adam O'Reilly and Cotter, to be honest with you. So I do think they're losses, but I do think the players that brought in are quality. I have to say, Lonergan, Mulroney, as I said, Noah Lewis and Creda in particular, I do think they're quality. But if they had kept an O'Reilly or a Cotter, even one of them, I think you'd be saying it's a brilliant transfer window for Pats. But the fact that the O'Reilly one was the big one for me, they lost out to Derry for him, which was disappointing because Adam did like playing for Pats as well. But is the ambition quite there at Pats? I don't really know, to be honest. So But as I said, I'd be happy with the ins there. So I'll give them nonetheless a 7 out of 10. I think overall 7 out of 10 for Pats. Where are we now? UCD, is it? UCD. Okay, UCD brought in Brendan Barr, Adam Wells, Mickey Rackett. Both of them are from Shamrock Rovers. Barr is from Derry, by the way. Sammy Clark from Athlone. I think they brought somebody else in. I can't remember his name from Bowles, but it's not on the list. But the players have lost are killer. Evan Caffrey, Tommy Lonergan, Colin Whelan was always going to go anyway. Shane Brennan and Dylan Duffy. Very difficult. It's very difficult for UCD, and I think it's going to be more difficult this season. I said in the season predictions show, if Myler keeps them up this season, it's manager of the year, absolutely no question, no matter what happens elsewhere. To lose that cohort of quality when there'll obviously be a batch of UCD players coming through, but not quite like that at the moment. There isn't. So I think it's disappointing for them. But look, when I say it's disappointing for them, there's not much they can do about it. So, if that was a club, you know what I mean, in terms of players contracted and all that kind of thing, they could actually do something about it. You'd give them a lower rating. But because it's UCD, I'll probably give them a 4 out of 10. It's disappointing overall. But they'd be disappointed with losing that many of them in one go, I think, coming into this season. But a lot of quality lost there. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's every club, isn't it? UCD, St. Patrick's Athletic, Sligo Rovers, Shelbourne, Shamrock Rovers, Dundalk, Drogheda United, Derry City, Cork City, and obviously Bohemians. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments. What rating would you give for each team or the club you support maybe, or who do you think won the transfer window as such? I think Shamrock Rovers and Derry did very well, the two of them together. I might go for Derry slightly ahead just because Rovers lost Lions for that reason. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think were the best signings for each club or any of the clubs. And that's it really. Subscribe to the channel, hit your bell notification button, and thanks for watching. Cheers. See you later. Bye.